last night in the Champions League to Diogo Jota that we need to contend with. We've got chips that are probably going to be in play, bench boost, we've got triple captains, we've got potential free hits. Gianni's in between two of those, I believe. Although, has the Jota injury changed things for you a bit?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, any injuries mean the free hit. Any injuries mean the bench boost doesn't become as popular in my thinking. I guess, like, of course, it's still on my radar, and I've got 2 free transfers. So those injured players, a Weghorst or a Jota, can be sold to make the squad still very good. But it definitely lessens the appeal. It also perhaps even increases the appeal of Salah if Jota's out, because you just think there's a little bit. I don't know. I think Salah starts both games regardless, but there's an argument to say if Jota is out, then Salah is even more likely to start both games.
Apparently a few problems with my audio. Hopefully this is better. I don't know what was going on there, but maybe this is better. I'll just have just a quick check before we carry on, Gianni. Someone just tell me if it's sounding all right, and then we'll carry on.
I can hear you fine, but it sounds like I deafened Paul, so sorry about that, Paul.
It looks fine on Streamlabs. I've just unplugged it. Fine now. Okay, fine. So there's absolutely no reason for it to have done that. Weird. I'll just do that introduction again for the podcast, just because otherwise it's going to sound really weird on that. Hello everyone, welcome to the weekly Gianni team reveal stream ahead of Game Week 26. I didn't even ask you before, Gianni. How are you? How are you doing?
We're so excited about the chip strategy, and we know I am using a chip this week, as are most FPL managers, that, we didn't even get to the little soft hellos. I'm good, mate. Yeah, I'm very well. Do you know what? I'm proper excited about this game week. Like, there are so many different directions teams can go in now. And whilst I feel like the vast majority are on the same chip strategy, and maybe that'll be a similar one to me with the triple captain, I still think there's lots of different directions, even with the same chip strategy. Like Bruno, are we holding him? Are we selling him, for example? So, yeah, I'm excited.
Well, that's the thing. There's no time for pleasantries when we've got like these big decisions to be made. I have no idea what I'm doing with my team either, but luckily this stream isn't about my team, it's about yours. So maybe by helping you, I can help myself. As we normally do, just before we get started, I just want to talk about Fantasy 5. We will be looking at our team selection for this at the end of the stream. So if you're not involved in Fantasy 5, it's obviously a free-to-play game that you can get involved with. You pick 5 players across 5 different matches, and you can win £10,000 if you get those 5 selections right. If you've played Fantasy 5 before, you might notice a bit of a change. Fantasy 5 has moved over to Boyle Sports. It's the same link as before, which is in the description. It's just to be able to register, you just need to migrate that account over to Boyle Sports. You don't need to make any deposits. It's still completely free to play. And there's more prizes as well. There's a PS5 first monthly prize coming for people as well. And if you don't understand what Fantasy 5 is, you can check the rules on the page. But essentially, you pick 5 players. They earn fantasy points. And if they hit their target, which is sort of predetermined by Fantasy 5, the people behind the scenes, if they all hit it, then you win the 10 grand. And there's mini leagues as well. There's a Fantasy Football Scout mini league description in the league below, where you can win £100 a month for the top person who gets the most points from that. So yeah, definitely check it out. And if you're interested, stick around to the end, where we'll be doing our selection. We haven't won the 10 grand, Gianni.
I know.
I want it.
Yeah, I'd like a little 10 grand win there. One day we will, and we'll split, and we'll have a crazy night out off the back of it.
Well, I watched your video with Ed where you were talking about how you'd split the winnings. You wanted what would you want, 80% or something?
I'm sorry, I can't believe that Ed wants to like potentially do a 50-50 split when he is a complete casual. I'm like, no, you're getting a much better end of the deal here. It's not fair.
Yeah. I did enjoy that though. Was his comment like, you think you're twice the man I am?
He is very witty, isn't he?
He is. Looking forward to his stand-up at Fest. I still can't believe that's going to happen. Right, enough of that. Enough of Ed. Let's talk about your Game Week 25. So you got 69 points. You had Foster with 2, Dallo with 8, Trent with 6, Dean with 2. You had Jota with 1, Foden with 8, Elise with 1, Fernandez with 24, Bowen with 13, Kane with 2, Broja with 2, and then on your bench, Ramsdale didn't have a game, Cancelo didn't play, Weghorst got 2, and me got 2, and you got a small green arrow, I believe, up from about what, about 80k, something like that?
Yeah, I think I was 69 or 70,
69,
so
okay.
10k-ish. And the week before that, I don't think we caught up. And the week before that was even worse. I did get a big red, and I Kane captain on the week where everyone's captain came in and Kane didn't. But fortunately, my captain came in this time. And Bruno, thank you very much for the 97th minute goal, because without that, it's terrible. Because Ronaldo, if you had Bruno captain, there's a very good chance you didn't have Ronaldo, and most others had Ronaldo captain. So very pleased he got in on the act. And I only watched the highlights of the game but Bruno again missed a sitter. So I feel like points were due, although again, United looked like the 2-0 scoreline flattered them. So yeah, I was happy with that. And Dalot again, getting one clean sheet out of the 2 you take. Foden got me a goal, repaid the faith, because I do keep with him always. And Bowen doing what Bowen does. Very lovely returns there. 13 points. Like, he's just an absolute gift at the moment, Bowen. I mean, we don't like using the term must have, and we always go there with Salah or Trent or Cancelo. We have to go there with Bowen now. Like, if he's not in your team, you're playing the game wrong, I'd probably say.
Must have. I think he just is a must have. And, there's people talking about benching him this week, or, maybe even selling him on a free hit, or maybe even selling him in general just to try and target these double game hit players. And he's just relentless. Like, he's just absolutely relentless at the moment, what he's doing. And surely England call-ups come in for him, because he physically can't do any more. He seems to me like a Southgate type player as well.
He really does. He's got the work ethic, and he's relentless. He can do the high press. He can run in behind. He likes players like Mason Mount, like Saka, like Bowen. But if Rashford and Sancho are getting in the England squad ahead of Jarrod Bowen, there's something seriously wrong. So I really hope he does get in.
Absolutely. Do you feel like you've dodged a couple of bit of a bullet here? I mean, you only had 2. Well, we had Foster. No, did Foster have a double? He did, didn't he? No, he didn't.
No,
he's got a double. No, yeah. So you had. Sorry, it's just Brighton and United, wasn't it? So you only had 2 double game week players. You didn't have the mate. So De Gea and Ronaldo, obviously very, very highly owned. Yeah. You just went in with Dalot and Fernandes, and like you say, it was all looking pretty bleak, wasn't it? Until the 97th minute. Goal. You didn't have a Webster, you didn't have a Lamptey, and you wildcarded quite recently as well.
The week before that double. So I always knew I was going into the double with no double Brighton, with only 2 double United, not 3. But it's just a case of picking your battles this season, because there are so many double game weeks. So every week is going to be a small double pretty much. And then the bigger doubles. In years gone by, we see double game weeks and we have to beeline and make sure we're covering both teams if it's a small double. We can't this season because we only get 1 precious transfer a week. And I'm not willing to take -4s and 8s just to fill it with the doublers of that chosen week. So I looked at it and went, I've got the option here of selecting a Brighton defender. Sure, that looked okay. And they did get 1 clean sheet out of 2. Or I can save my transfer and then bring in a doubler the week after. So you've just got to pick your battles. Same with United. I didn't want to go in on triple because that would mean I have to have 1 fewer double game week players the week after. So it's just picking your battles, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely. But I think in general, you've Dalot kind of covers De Gea.
That was the plan.
Yeah.
That was the plan on wildcard. I wanted De Gea and just looked at the price and thought I can have United defence for 4.5 or 5.1. Well, I think they get similar points. So I'll go Dalot, and then that allows me Ramsdale, who was my number 1 choice.
Yeah. Because we haven't really caught up since your wildcard. I think the last stream we did was you kind of talking about it or thinking of doing it, and then you actually did pull the trigger on it. So a few players who were quite interesting. I mean, Elise, Palace. Yeah. Elise, what's he doing in there?
It's a really hard one because he did so well in the FA Cup, and I was like, he's going to be first choice. And I looked at the fixtures and was like, it's Norwich and Brentford. Now, he did start against Norwich, as I predicted, because he'd done so well in the FA Cup. But Jordan Ayew is a favourite of Vieira's, and Ayew will play. They will share minutes. Ayew will play for me against tougher opposition and probably more likely in away games. So this double game week, Chelsea-Watford, I probably expect Ayew to play against Chelsea and Elise to play against Watford, and I take that. But moving forward, knowing they're going to be sharing minutes, it is a sell, and a hard sell. And I always knew that. It was more just going, it's Norwich, it's Brentford, it's a double game week. Let's have a punt on someone that no one has, like Elise. So it was a bit of a short-term punt, a bit like Edouard. Just like Elise, massive rotation risk. And everyone went Edouard. But as I said, Mateta has a very good chance of starting in some games, just like Ayew does. It all depends on the opponents and the tactics of that chosen match. So Elise is a short-term punt. He'll be off soon. And I'll replace him for a 4.5, either Ramsey or Gordon.
Yeah. Gordon looks good, doesn't he?
It might actually be Gordon. I think that Everton team are going to score goals for fun. I think they'll concede goals for fun as well. But I like Gordon.
I think people who've got on Gordon early, he's a 4.5 million mid, and we've seen these 4.5s emerge. Like, I've got Ramsey at the moment, who a couple of weeks ago looked the best one, like by far, and then got that. But I think there's now that real decision to be made between him and Gordon, because I think Lampard likes young players, right? That's what he did with Chelsea. That's pretty much why he got the job, to kind of help those youngsters flourish, and he managed that so well. And he just gives that bit of balance to the side. The team looks so unbalanced, really, doesn't it? With Ali and Van der Beek and all these. I don't know how he's going to play him, but I think Gordon is going to be locked into that side.
Got a good record with younger players as well at Chelsea. Like, we know Lampard is happy to show the faith to a kid, and Gordon obviously is, and he's getting minutes. The other option, as John points out in the chat, I didn't realise Moda is only 4.5, but again, like, Moda had a great game against United, and again, one to perhaps be on our radar if we're looking at 4.5, but I still would prefer Gordon or Ramsey.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are not going to be going down the 4.5 route. I mean, I bought Ramsey in last week, and I'm looking at getting rid of him straight away, because the strikers are just so bad. If you've got a 4.5 striker, you're probably with with 3 up top still, which just isn't working out, is it? But Kane, let's talk about Kane, because Kane, I've talked about the last few weeks. His stats are just like massively in the ascendancy. Looked like he was getting back to his best. He looks like he's getting back to his best, and suddenly Spurs have just gone completely to pot, losing the last 2 games. What's going on?
Like you, I saw enough in Kane. I was on wildcard, as we had both seen the Kane action over the last few weeks, and gone, he's turned a corner here. He's turned a massive corner. And unlike anyone else, because I was on wildcard, I was able to get Kane in. If you weren't on a wildcard, there was no way you could ever reach Kane, because we were all looking at the United assets ahead of the double. We were thinking of ways to get Salah back in our team. It was only those on wildcard that could perhaps even go, this is how I can get Kane in. And I was like, I need to make the most of this. But geez, it's been bad. And I captained him. Last week for his blank. And he had an expected goals in that game of way over 1.0. And I don't know how he didn't return. But all the other captains of that week returned big. And it really, really cost me. And I had a terrible week because of it. And then again, this time out against Southampton, Spurs didn't turn up. Southampton were very good. But Kane, another no-show. So, of course, I'm holding him because he's got the double. Although, when he doubles one of the opponents of Man City, it's kind of will feel like a single. It's 2 points there probably. But I've got to keep the faith. And do you know what? It's slim pickings up front anyway. I've got a bit of cash. I'm not desperate for the money. So I will keep the faith for a couple of games with Kane. And then if I need to sell him to perhaps, I don't know, let's say Lukaku comes into form, knowing Chelsea are owed so many fixtures and could double in 28, maybe that Kane to Lukaku is an easier move for me than it would be for some others.
Yeah. I mean, it looked like Spurs were turning a corner there. You look at all the expected goal metrics and they're way up there. I think they're second or something over the last 6 or something like that. Defensively, it looked like Conte had sorted them out. And then you look at their recent results. I mean, 1-0 against Watford. They beat Leicester 3-2. Then lost to Chelsea, lost to Southampton, lost to Wolves. Kane is 4 blanks in his last 5 matches. Again, which is like what he was doing at the start of the season, but we all thought he was going to sort of turn that round. He looked someone like, I thought about after that Chelsea game, I looked at Spurs' fixtures and thought, this is someone that would probably be quite an easy Ronaldo switch if United didn't have the double. And I probably would have made the same move to you as well. So, yeah, it just shows, doesn't it? Spurs are just a very, very hard team to predict. What do you think about Son? A lot of people are going for Son this week. If you could pick one of the two, would you stick with Kane?
Still would stick with Kane, you know. I know Son's been good, but he's not match fit yet. Like, you look at Son at the end of the game last time out against Southampton, he was really struggling. Like, he's obviously had an injury and been out and therefore isn't up to full speed. And we know Conte is going with the 3-4-3, which doesn't put Son in a front 2, it puts him in a front 3. And when Son is in that front 2, I think he's arguably often a better asset than Kane. When he's in a front 3 and he's wide, I much prefer Harry Kane. So I'd go Kane over Son still, to be honest. I really would.
Still Kane? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Nice. Okay, let's take a look at how you're set up ahead of the double game week. So you got Ramsdale in goal with the double, Brentford and Wolves. You got Cancelo against Tottenham. You got Trent with Norwich and Leeds. Me, as in Ben Me, not as in me, with Brighton and Spurs. A pound for every time a streamer makes that joke. Jota, Norwich and Leeds at home. Foden with Spurs. Bowen, Newcastle. Fernandes with Leeds. Then Weghorst with Brighton and Spurs. Broja, your best mate, with Everton, and the maligned Harry Kane with City and Burnley. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 6 doublers. You've got 1.4 million in the bank. You've got one free transfer?
2.
2 free transfers. Lovely. And on your bench, you've got Foster, Dean, Elise, and Dallo, which doesn't look too bad either. Come on then. What's the plans? What's the thinking?
Yeah, like on the bench, 2 of those players, Foster and Elise, both have doubles as well. And, the Foster double is all right. Elise might only start one of the games, but he does have a double. So, and then my 2 free transfers will be for 2 doublers. So that 6 soon becomes like 10, 11.
Well, you got to get Salah, right? Like you haven't got him. So I assume you're going to lose Fernandes for Salah.
Yeah.
You have to.
That's happening. And if Salah was due to go up in price last night, I would have pulled the trigger on that last night, because I was just waiting for that Inter Milan game to finish to then go, he's not injured, I can buy Salah. But I didn't want to buy him before Inter, so I watched those price rises. But Bruno is gone, or will be gone, maybe tonight.
Just quickly, how do you feel about that? Because I've got...
Yeah, I don't love it. I don't love it, but it's needs must.
Nor do I. I've got Bruno, and he scored a hat-trick against Leeds game week 1. Leeds are the worst team defensively in the league this season in terms of minutes per expected goal. And he scored 97th minute. He looked a lot better last few games as well.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a scary sale, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Like the midfield runners are something Leeds do not cope well with, and we know what Bruno is good at, and that's those late runs. And then it's Watford. Then the fixtures do turn, but the only way I can get Salah in easily is Bruno. You could argue I could sell Kane with the 2 free transfers and rejig it, but I don't want to sell Kane on a double. I really don't. I know one of them's Man City. And then the other big news is if Jota is going to be out, and remember, it's suspected ankle ligament damage, and he is going to have a scan today on that. When we know more, and we'll be looking at training pictures and we'll be hearing from Klopp before the deadline, if Jota was out, I would love to convert Jota to Salah, for example, but I don't have the funds to do that, and that would mean a massive downgrade elsewhere, which I'm not sure I can cater for, but I will look into it. If there is a way of keeping Bruno and adding Salah and still keeping Kane, I don't think it's going to be possible, because I just don't have enough funds in the bank, the 1.4 million.
So have you got enough to do Fernandes to Salah straight swap?
Yeah.
Okay.
That leaves me with, I think, 0.1 left over. And then that would also mean I can go Dallo to another 4.5 or 4.6 defender. I could swap Elise out, or I could swap Jota out. So, for example, my plan originally was looking at bringing Saka into this team. So I was actually, when I wildcarded 2 weeks back, my moves that I always planned for this week was rolling last week and then go Bruno to Salah, and it was going to be Foden down to Saka. Having seen Foden play in the last couple of games, having seen him in the Champions League come off early because he's the only fit number 9 at the club, knowing Jesus is injured, knowing Grealish is injured, I feel like Foden is more nailed than ever. He came off early in both the last 2, including the champs. Pep is protecting him because he is absolutely key to that City team at the moment. And he is going to start against Spurs, and I will eat my hat if he doesn't. So, and then it's Everton a week later and no midweek football for Foden. So he even gets a rest. So I can't sell Foden, which means getting Saka in was kind of forgotten about until last night's Jota injury. And I thought, maybe I still can get Saka, and Jota goes.
So if Jota's out, okay, let's go through the different permutations. Jota's fit. Klopp says he's fine. No ligament damage. He's good. So you do Fernandes to Salah, and then you do Dallo to a 4-5. Yeah.
Only if I'm bench boosting. If I'm not bench boosting, I keep Dallo.
So that's the other question that we need to cover. Okay. What's the best way of doing this? So this is the thing this week, isn't it? There's so many different sort of permutations to consider. Okay, so ignoring the kind of the chips for now. So Jota's a doubt, right? So Klopp says, okay, it's not ligament damage, but he's orange flagged. What do you do? Do you sell him?
Yeah, I think I probably do. If he's not trained, I probably do, because I don't think Klopp risks him for not meaningless Norwich fixture, but we've seen with Man City, they rested Cancelo, they rested KDB, they rested Laporte. That Norwich game is the one where big teams go into and think maybe we can rest a few. So Jota wouldn't be risked, and he might play the Leeds game, but then he's got a blank next week anyway.
So is that your way of saying that you don't think Jota is potentially a long-term hold then? Because if you sell him, you're going to struggle to get him back because of how much he's gone up.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I thought we spoke about it a few weeks ago. I love Jota, but the fixtures turn a little bit. There is a couple of blanks, and he is expensive. And now Luis Diaz has been added to the squad, and I do think Jota is first choice, which means he'll always start in the Champions League. Maybe there'll be a few rests or rotation. Like, I don't think he's become essential, especially with the fixtures and the lack of doubles. If I sell him now, you're right. I'm unlikely to go back.
Yeah, exactly. Because my opinion of him just keeps changing, like almost daily, and I, people keep calling me out on it on Twitter and on Scout, which is completely fair enough. Because in the last video we did, I said, can't wait to sell him. Like, we'll probably move for Robertson. Would do it if I was on a wild card. Robertson has actually outscored Jota over the last sort of 4 games as well, which is surprising. Jota just had that one big haul, but a lot of people captained him for that, so he kind of got the double points. But and then he scored those points against Leicester, and I thought, okay, here we go. This is like, I watched that game, and Jota was, Salah came off the bench, but that was the Jota show. He really was. He was so key to that win. And I thought, okay, he's definitely just first choice now. He's just going to play. And then last night, even before the injury, he wasn't playing that well. Then Firmino comes on, Diaz comes on, and they both look brilliant again. And it's like, there is a lot of options there, a lot of attacking options now at Liverpool at the moment. And I thought Firmino was kind of probably going to be phased out, but I thought he did all right. I think he struggled in the early stages when he came on yesterday, but towards the end, he played that false 9, so well. And you talk about Foden.
So well.
He did, exactly. And you talk about Foden being the perfect false 9 for City. Firmino's still that role that Klopp loves. So it's very, very difficult to predict. So I just don't know what to do with him. I really don't. He's got the best stats. He's now overtaken Salah as having the best minutes per expected goal in the league. So when he plays, he's the most likely player in the entire league to get points. But the question is, does he carry on playing as many minutes as we got? Very interesting. I think Saka is a really interesting alternative for him, given that Arsenal's fixtures are so good. What about free hitting next week? Are you looking at that?
No, I've completely, and again, part of my wildcard plan was wildcard so I don't have to free hit in 27, and I potentially don't have to free hit in 30 either. If Burnley play Southampton in game week 30, which we don't know, it depends on the West Ham Southampton FA Cup tie, which could go either way. If Burnley play Southampton, then that's 3 players already for me in that fixture, plus I've got a few others, plus I'd buy a few. I'd go into game week 30 with like 9-10 players just using free transfers and still having a good looking squad. But back to 27 question, the free hit next week is going to include a lot of players I've already got, so everyone's going to want to cover Spurs attack, so they will get Son or Kane, or maybe both. Well, I have Kane. They will include Weghorst and then me, because they the doubles. Well, I've got 2 Burnley, and it might be a third Burnley, because I could sell Dalot to Roberts, for example, and go triple Burnley. So I'm looking all right. I have 2 City players against Everton. Nice. I have Bowen. Everyone will go for Bowen. The only team I won't cover that people will have in free hit 27 is United attack. Everyone is going to have Bruno versus Watford, and I'm not going to. But other than that one player, and maybe Ronaldo or Dalot or De Gea, sure, the United players, I think I've covered all the other big 27 options in my team.
And you're going to have Foster against United.
Yeah.
So you just got to hope that Hodgson can keep it tight. Yeah, I think if you've wildcarded, you had to plan to not use your free hit in 27, surely, because that's one of the major benefits of keeping it. I mean, does that put you off doing Jota to Saka though? Because you'd still be able to bench your 3, but
because it's Jota. Why I didn't want to go Foden to Saka was, that's now 4 players out again week 27, and I've got 10 men. My triple Liverpool and Saka are all on the bench, and of course Ramsdale. But because it would be Jota a player not playing to Saka a player not playing, that's fine. That's my 3 bench players sorted. And actually, the other players have all got okay fixtures. It's not like I've got some rubbish enablers in my team who don't play. Elise is the only one that wouldn't be guaranteed a start if fit. And again, I'd probably sell him.
Okay, so if Jota's a doubt or out for a while, you're probably going to sell him. That's what I'm taking from that.
If Jota's fit, I obviously hold. And if Jota is it sounds like he's only going to miss one game, then potentially I just bench him. And actually, I look at my bench and think I'd have Dean coming in who plays Watford. You know, a nice replacement, or at least say with a double game week.
If you bench Jota and he
plays
lines up
Leeds.
against Leeds, yeah, that would be nasty. Okay, so the big question then is Chip. It's the name of the stream. It's your big decision this week. It's whether you're gonna fall in line with the majority of us, I think, who are going to triple captain Salah. Just seems so obvious to do. I mean, there's a few doubts around will he play both games. Got the he's got the cup final. He's got the second leg of the Champions League. Although the 2-0 against Inter will help him a bit, but he's still going to play in that second game, especially with the away goals rule having now gone from the Champions League, which I only realised last night.
I forgot about that too.
Yeah, me too. It's a big change because that 2-0 isn't as if they were 2-0 up and the away goals was in, they'd be pretty much guaranteed to be through. But yeah, it's all to play for. Okay, so or
how good were Inter, by the way? I can't. So Liverpool, like Inter was. It was funny. All the commentators were like, Liverpool aren't playing well tonight, or they're really struggling. This was 70 minutes in. It was all how amazing Inter are. As soon as Liverpool go and score a goal from a set piece and a goal from an error, scrappy Salah goal, it's what an away performance in Europe. Liverpool doing what they do best. And everyone's forgotten about how amazing that Inter team had played and how unlucky they were not to be winning. It's funny, like fair play, Liverpool, it was a good enough away performance, but it wasn't a masterclass by any stretch. But it was a masterclass because they got 2 scrappy goals. Please.
They matched them in every area. The main differences were Fabinho, who I thought was absolutely brilliant in that first half. Without him, they would have definitely conceded in that first half. And I mean, Van Dijk, my God, any player that got a bit of space and was one-on-one with Van Dijk, he just cleaned it up. Yeah. It's just absolutely ridiculous, that guy. It's just so good. But without those two, I think they would have been in big trouble. And then in the end, they just took their chances well. But 2-0 was very harsh for Inter in that match.
Yeah. You asked me about the Chip.
Which one? Or bench boost is the other question.
Yeah, so for me, it's bench boost or triple captain. Earlier in the week, I must admit, I was veering towards. I was 51-49 going bench boost, but now Jota's flagged, and we still don't know about Weghorst. Any injury discards the bench boost for me. And I know the best time to triple captain, in my head, I know this will be the best opportunity we get all season. Of course it will be. When do you get Salah with those 2 home fixtures? You just don't. So it seems very obvious. The reason I wanted to bench boost is because I've wildcarded as, right? The plan was wildcard, bench boost quite soon, and then I can start to thin my squad and not have to worry about building a bench boost squad for 36 like most will. Now, the question is, in my head, is how many doubles do we get in game week 36? We've both got dogs by our doors. That's funny. Like how big is that double game week in 36 going to be? And it's probably going to be huge. We could see 12 teams playing twice. And then I'm like, okay, maybe the bench boost opportunity will be just as good then. But it does mean I then have to keep a big squad between now and game week 36. But is that an issue? Perhaps not. Sure, I'm going to get more bench points than most, but it also means when we get all these small double game weeks and stuff, I've got more players that potentially can come in that are actually playing, good players on my bench that's like, oh, actually I'll play him this week because he's got a double. So maybe it's not a bad thing to have the big squad. We still don't know. You never know. There could still be COVID postponements and things like that. So I am veering towards the triple captain, especially because of the flagged players. And actually I'm looking at it going, if Jota is out short term, it's safer to bench him than replace, because do I want to use my 2 free transfers this week? No, my bench is so strong. I'll only use my 2 free transfers if I bench boost. If I don't, it's just Bruno to Salah, triple captain. But the bench is strong. Foster with 2 fixtures, Dean, Watford, Elise double game week, and Dallo, if I bench boost, isn't actually Dallo. That is Kilman, or that is a Burnley defender like Roberts. So again, another double game week player on the bench. It's as good a bench boost as I think I'll get, but it's by far the best triple captain I'll get.
I would be tempted to bench boost.
Would you? I do want your opinion, so go on.
Well, you got a couple of injury doubts, right? You got Weghorst. A few people asked about Weghorst as well. We don't know whether he's fit. He is a doubt. Yeah. Team news tomorrow with Neil and the press conferences from Dyche will tell us, I assume, whether he's going to play. And both, but assuming he's fit, if you get some positive news on Jota, you've got 2 free transfers and you've got 6 doublers. So you can get 2 more, so you can have 8 doublers and then a bench boost. I mean, I think it's the best week to triple captain a player. Like I'm expecting Salah to get 20 plus points. I honestly am. I just think it's the 2 home fixtures look so good.
Yeah. The outfield factor as well.
Exactly. But the bench boost, if you've got a good bench, I don't think you can rule it out, because if that bench boost gets you 20, 24 points, you've matched that return from Salah. You've got rid of that annoying chip to have to use. You've already used your wild card as well. So it's not like you can... This is probably the best your bench is going to look for quite a while, too, because you're not going to be able to wild card into a better bench boost. And then you've still got the triple captain. You know, if you triple captain a player in another double game week, and even if he gets 12, 15 points, that's still, only, 10 less than what Salah got in this one, if he does end up with 20 plus. So
it does mean my triple captain, when I do it, will be more fun as well, because the effective ownership will be so much lower because everyone will have used that chip already.
Yeah, I'm not getting into that.
I like the...
Don't you bait me with...
I like the rewards I could get by triple captaining another player, but Liverpool will get another double game week. So there is another option to double game weeks, triple captain Salah. It will just be 2 not so good fixtures. But then I look outside of Salah. What players in this game at the moment do we look at and think we're trusting with triple captaincy? Kane? No, thank you. City assets? I'm not so sure. Even KDB, you just don't know with rotation. Ronaldo and Lukaku? No, thank you. Bruno? I don't even think, even on recent form, I would. So again, it's Salah or Trent are the only players, or Cancelo, the only players you trust. And you're not going to triple captain a defender, I don't think. Well, I never have. So yeah, it's such a tough one. The Weghorst injury news is big for me, because if Weghorst is fit, I go back to probably favouring the bench boost 51-49. It's a tough one.
I think it's particularly tough as well, because when you think about the chips and how much they're worth in terms of points, this is what it always comes down to. The triple captain is probably worth between 4 and 20. Like, there's a big variance split on it. You could easily captain a player who blanks twice if they had a double, for example. And lots of us have done it before. Shane Duffy, years ago. The bench boost is probably worth between 10 and 30, I'd say. Yeah. So there is more potential in it, but there's more planning that goes into kind of getting it right. And I just think if you've
sacrifices on the way.
Yeah, exactly. Excuse me.
Messages.
Thank you. So this is why I think if you've got the bench that can kind of set up, and if you've got 2 doublers on your bench this week, which you would have in theory, well, you could even potentially have 3. You could
3,
have Foster, Elise, and another one. Then I think it's probably the way that I'd go. Because
you look at the starting 11. Are there any players in that starting 11 though you would look and go, they're on a single game week, put them on the bench and actually play Elise or play, I don't know, whoever my Dean replacement is? I just can't bench Cancelo and Foden this week. I feel like that Spurs fixture at the Etihad is a really good fixture at the moment. And then Bowen, absolutely cannot bench Bowen. Wouldn't even go there. Brozier again, I don't think you can bench Brozier with that fixture at home.
No, you can't. I mean, Dean's the one out of the 3. I mean, Elise, I think probably only plays 1. I think you're right. Dallo, God knows what, Maguire could fall over at any point and let Leeds in. He's so bad at the moment. But Dean at home to Watford, I think that's got to be a pretty much a banker for a clean sheet, I would have said.
And attacking returns. He's looked so close, isn't he?
Yeah, it's probably between him and Broja, but it's really hard to not play the striker.
Yeah. So yeah, again, I don't like having that headache, and obviously I have that headache at the moment. And I wouldn't if I bench boosted, and if I bench boosted, I would just pray that Salah is rested on one of those games, or doesn't start one of those games. I'm sure he features in both. Again, what do you think the chances are of Salah missing a game, knowing the EFL Cup finals around the corner? I've seen a lot on Twitter, people that I respect their opinions, saying they are fairly confident that Salah doesn't play one of those games. I personally think he starts both. I think he's had his little mini rest and he'll be fine. But again, you could hope for that, and there is a chance he doesn't. He only does start 1.
Yeah, I mean, it's only a disaster if your bench boost gets 8 and Salah gets 25. That's the only real, because if your bench boost gets 20 and Salah gets 20, you've matched it, and then you just need your triple captain to do well. And there's not that much in it. I really don't. These chips are just so. There's so much build up to them. Everyone gets so obsessed with how many points they can get, but realistically, it's 20 points. That's it.
The free hit chips are the ones. The
free hit
chips
free
are the
and
ones
wild cards. Of course they are. Yeah, they're the ones with just like unlimited potential, especially using a blank game week, the free hit chip. You could get like 40, 50 points from that if you played that right. Although you could also lose points if you play it on a double and like this, and then your old team ends up outscoring them. And that's the worry with me and the free hit chip and people using it and taking out Fernandes, Ronaldo, Dean, all these, and Bowen, all these single game week guys. I wouldn't be surprised if a single game week, player, matched a lot of the double game week scorers.
Yeah.
Not the Liverpool boys, but everyone else. So
like you look at Bowen at home to Newcastle, the City lads at home to Spurs, really good fixtures on the single game week.
Yeah. It's just, and it's also just team dependent. It's very easy to say Salah's the most obvious triple captain choice. Well, yeah, he is. But if you've got 3 double game week players on your bench and you're not likely to get something that looks as good as that, then it has to be something you consider.
Yeah.
Anyway, hope that's helped.
It's going to go down to the wire. I reckon Friday's members video with Mark might help me a little bit as well. No doubt Mark will have an opinion I'll be keen to hear.
Oh yeah, he's full of good wisdom this season. He's bringing in Lewis Dunk this week.
I would love to go on that call with Mark, having locked my team, but I know I will still be in 2 minds until probably Saturday morning. Although I guess we will know about Jota's injury and we will know about Weghorst's injury. But again, I think it'll be a Saturday morning call just in case we see any pictures that Jota's not in the team hotel or on the bus or anything like that. But yeah, as always, a lot comes down to that last minute extra detail and research you put in as an FPL manager.
The one thing I can offer Mark, because he's a much better FPL manager than I am, is Brighton advice. That's the only thing I feel like I can really offer him. Did he ask me for any Brighton advice on which defender to bring in? Nope. I would have said Lamptey.
Dunk.
I would have said Lamptey first. Well, I did say Lamptey first, then Webster.
And Webster second. Yeah, I would have said those 2 in that order. Lamptey didn't start the second game, did he? No.
He didn't, but he still got like 11 in the first match.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, sorry, Mark, but you should have.
Yeah,
should have asked me.
Serves him right.
Only thing I can offer. Awesome. Right. So that's that for that. Yeah, I'll be really interested to know what you end up doing. I don't think.
What are you doing?
Oh, don't ask me what I'm doing. I've got absolutely no idea. I've got 2 free transfers. I've got Fernandes and Ronaldo. I don't know whether to sell Fernandes, which is nice and easy, or just shuffle my team around and get rid of Ronaldo. I've got a feeling Ronaldo doesn't start. He's played 2. He's played 2. The last 2 games. They've got this Atletico Madrid game coming up next week.
Yeah, I always thought Ronaldo would be benched. My issue is Cavani fit to start? If Cavani's not, then I don't think he's willing to play Rashford number 9. He's never done that.
But Leeds is a good game to do that because he's going to have space to run in behind.
Yeah, if ever there was a game to give Rashford a go in his favoured position, by the way, we forget Rashford sees himself as a forward. Yeah.
I think Fernandes is the kind of the obvious hold because he's definitely going to start and has been playing well. But if Ronaldo does line up against Leeds, I do worry that he could do some real damage. So yeah, I don't know what I'm doing.
But you're set on triple captain, surely.
I'm definitely triple captain. My bench has Livramento, Ben Johnson. There's no luckily there's no question marks for me around that. It's just definitely a triple captain on Salah. Right,
it's going to be horrible celebrating Salah, not celebrating Salah, like going either way. I'll have Salah captain and will not want him to score points because his EO will be 300%.
His EO's putting me the highest we've ever seen it. I think.
Have we ever seen over 300%?
Although, is it? Because there could be a lot of people that are struggling to get him back in, and he had been sold by quite a few.
I don't know. He's had a couple of price rises already. Everyone is bringing him in this week.
You think it'll be over 200%?
Yeah.
What about two? I reckon like not that much over 200. I reckon like 210, 215, something like that.
Is it possible to be over 300? It's not, is it? 300 is the max it could be.
No, can't be over 300.
Yeah, so he's gonna be like 250.
He won't be 250. No way.
I don't think.
No, I don't think so. You're gonna have some people that go for Trent. You're gonna have some people that have missed the deadline and left it on Fernandes and Ronaldo. The Premier League are tweeting about United, so a few people will probably get sucked into that trap. I don't know. I think like 215, 220, something like that.
He's 51% owned now, and I think he was 38 last week. So he has shot up another 12% in ownership.
That'll be interesting. I mean, if it is 250, that's just absolutely ridiculous.
If it's 250, you've got him captained. Yeah, you're losing out big time. You need him triple captained.
That's literally ridiculous. Anyway, right, we've got 5 minutes. So let's quickly switch to do our Fantasy 5 predictions and get these locked in because we're going to win this money at some point. So as I mentioned, the link to this are in the description below. And you just pick 5 players across 5 games to get your points. Right, let's talk Liverpool-Norwich then. Firmino's 8.5. I mean, we're going to pick a Liverpool player, aren't we? There's not really any point in reading out the Norwich players. They're all very highly, priced. Salah's 12.5, Mane's 10.5. Diaz is 10.5.
Yeah.
And then in defence, you've got Trent 9.5, Van Dijk 8.5, Robertson 8.5. Tough one. Do we just go all out and just go for Salah? Just hope he gets like 18 points in this?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think we treat ourselves.
treat ourselves to the most expensive one I think I've ever seen on this game. Villa Watford. Backing a
I think Villa have to do something.
Yeah.
Because they've actually underwhelmed in recent weeks, but we know they're there. Like wouldn't be surprised to see Watkins in amongst the goals finally.
Watkins is 6.5, which is a good price.
Yeah, that is good.
Dean 7.5, Cash 6.5. And then you've got all their creative talents. Coutinho 8.5, Buendia 7.5.
I mean, the clean sheet, I would think it looks likely. Watford that haven't looked like scoring. So maybe it is Dean or Cash.
Let's go for Dean.
Yeah, set piece.
It's always nice to pick players you actually own. City Spurs. Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm backing a City win here, definitely.
Foden. This is a Foden game for me.
Foden gave 10.5. He's the most expensive City asset.
Oh, wow.
He's the same
What's Mahrez?
He's the same as Sterling and De Bruyne. Mahrez is 9.5, so one less.
I think Mahrez will start with Jesus out. And Mahrez has just been amazing. You look at his points per game and I don't know why we never go. Well, I do know why we don't go there, but he's a very good FPL option.
Let's go Mahrez. I like that pick.
And the penalty appeal, of course.
Yep. Leeds United then. Stuart Dallas 4.5. Oh, he's always 4.5.
I feel like he might be out as well. I think he's injured.
Is he? He's not flagged on the game.
Is he not?
But he did go off injured a little while ago.
Yeah, he did.
Fernandes is 8.5, which seems like quite a good price for him, since he scored a hat-trick in game week 1. Ronaldo is 8.5 as well. I think we go Fernandes, personally.
Yeah.
8.5. That's going
to
hurt you,
He's going to punish all his sellers, Bruno, isn't he?
And the final game is Wolves-Leicester, which is quite a hard game to predict, I think. Jimenez and Daka are both 6.5. You've then got, take your pick. Most of them are sort of around 6 or 7.
I'd go Wolves. I think Wolves' defence, Leicester haven't looked like scoring bags without Vardy and without, it's been Daka up front by himself.
So you've got, the one I like is Sace then. Because Leicester are absolutely awful at set pieces.
Oh, nice, yeah. He's
Sace is
6.5.
He is. Yeah. I actually think Sace is a really nice pick if you've got if you're looking for someone a bit different. I think Leicester are the worst team for conceding set pieces in the league. So he could.
Yeah, honestly, if I do sell Dallo and do bench boost, I do think it'll be a Wolves defender. I'll only be able to afford the 4.5s, or 4.6. So I think it'll probably be Kilman. As much as I love Aït-Nouri, I do think we'll see a bit of rotation there with Marçal occasionally playing. So I'll go for one of the back 3. Saïss would be my number 1 pick if money wasn't an issue, but Kilman's a good option.
Yep, nice.
For FPL.
Yep. Gianni, thank you so much, as always. I'll let you go because you've got a meeting, I think, to run to. And I've got to get ready for the FPL show a bit later, but we will catch up again next week. Good luck with whatever mad decision you come up with for the weekend. I'll be watching your video with Mark tomorrow night to see what you do.
I just want to be not template. I just want to do what the masses do in triple captain Salah, but there's always that little monkey on my shoulder going, do your own thing.
Play your own game.
Yeah, play your own game. Which I do sometimes too much. Anyway, good to chat, Az. Thank you, mate.